If you're normally driven, optimistic, and full of ideas, but your business now feels heavy and exhausting, this video is going to make a lot of sense for you. So if you're feeling fed up or burnt out by your business, you're not alone. Multiple surveys show us that a huge percentage of small business owners report high stress, low satisfaction, and symptoms associated with poor mental health. Many cite loneliness, financial pressure, and long working hours as the biggest contributors. And business owner loneliness is different to most other forms of stress. So you feel responsible to your customers, responsible to your team, and if you've got a family, responsible to provide for them. So you don't naturally talk about how hard it feels with the people that are around you. You keep things bottled up, put on a brave face, and carry that weight around quietly. There's also a double whammy effect that most people don't understand, and that is that entrepreneurially minded people are natural inspirers. You're driven by ideas and leading people. You like building things, you get energy from growth and progress. So when you start to feel tired or flat or burnt out, you're not just stressed, you're also frustrated with yourself for not being the motivated, inspiring person that you believe you should be. So that internal conflict is exhausting. And here's the key point. What isn't going to fix this situation is you being more resilient. Ice baths aren't going to fix this. Yoga's not going to fix it. Breath work, supplements, or some new morning routine isn't going to fix this issue. Those things might reduce the symptoms in the short term, but they don't address the root cause of the problem. In fact, focusing only on resilience often delays fixing what actually needs fixing. So the problem isn't you. You're not burnt out because you're weak, ungrateful, or incapable. You're burnt out because your business is inadvertently designed to drain you. And as your business and team grow, they pull you into work that doesn't energize you. They keep you dealing with issues instead of building. And it makes it hard for you to ever properly switch off. And because you don't really talk about this, that pressure just compounds internally. I know this not just from the data and not from working with business owners, but from being one myself. So before I owned my first business, I served in the military. I did 2 tours of Afghanistan. I worked on shark fishing boats off the south coast of Australia. And I'd also lived with monks in Nepal and Thailand. And I coped with all of that just fine. But what actually made me the most stressed and unhappy was 5 years of running a small business, which I did after all of those experiences. And that's when I realized something really important, that burnout isn't a personal failure, it's a design flaw with business. Most owners experiencing this are in the same stage of their business journey, and I call it the slog phase. And you're here because to get your business started and sustainable, you had to build it to be reliant on you. You didn't know what was going to work at the beginning, so you worked hard, made decisions quickly, carried standards, and pushed things forwards. And at first, that feels exciting, that feels energizing, but typically around 10 to 50 employees and or around 4 to 7 years in business, things start to change. You spend less time building and more time managing problems. Growth starts to look good on paper, but the rising cost means more pressure and often less cash. The team you hired to make your life easier is now making you busier and more stressed. And growth only happens if you push it. Everything feels heavy, you're constantly tired. This is the slog phase. And if you don't move out of the slog phase, the consequences are real. You don't just stay busy, you stay stuck. And you end up with a business that doesn't give you fun, doesn't give you freedom, doesn't give you finances, and definitely doesn't give you fulfillment. Worse still, you end up owning a business that you can't even sell. And around 80% of UK businesses that get listed for sale never actually sell. And this is largely because they're dependent on the owner. And buyers see that risk immediately. So the owner ends up exhausted, frustrated, and trapped in the very thing that they built for a better life. If this is making sense, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps us reach other owners. So what's the solution to being in this slog phase and getting out of it? Not more resilience. You need to move into what we call the systems phase. If you want your business to not rely on you, to be enjoyable for your team, and to be able to scale or sell, it has to run without depending on you. Systemizing a business doesn't mean bureaucracy or red tape. It means building a business that supports you instead of draining you. And to start the transition, there are 3 things that matter the most. So the first one is clarity. Everybody needs to know what good looks like, both in the business and in their roles. The second one is focus. Everybody understanding what actually matters most over the next 12 to 52 weeks. And the third one is accountability. And this is you having a rhythm and scorecards in your business that make progress a habit, not a hope or a thing that you have to drive. And here's where many owners get stuck. Entrepreneurs are great at ideas and new things. We're far less naturally wired for consolidation, efficiency, and systems. So instead of fixing the design, you chase new ideas, new hires, new products, and new services to try and get yourself out of feeling stuck in the business. And that might create short-term relief, but it keeps you stuck in a loop of building things, getting them to a decent point, and then resenting them because they can't work without you. There's also a mindset layer to this. Fear of standards dropping, fear of mistakes, fear of losing control. I've got a video that breaks down the 3 biggest mental barriers owners face when trying to step back from the business and move into the systems phase and how to overcome them. I'll link that at the end of this video. Here's what matters now. Fully removing yourself from the day-to-day operations usually takes somewhere between 12 and 24 months, but meaningful relief comes much sooner. With the right structure in place, most owners can reclaim around 2 days a week within 90 days of focus. That alone changes how the business feels and how your life feels. Burnout isn't telling you to be tougher, it's telling you the business needs to change. Your business can work for you again, but only once it stops depending on you to hold everything together. If you want more practical support on building a business that doesn't rely on you, mindset and systems, make sure you're subscribed to the channel.